Warning, the Stone Age Gamer includes a lot of bad language. Cover your mother***ing ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer podcast. I am Kris Randazzo and joining me tonight is Mundane Release, Dan Ryan.
Mundane AF.
It's our 351st episode, but since we screwed up the schedule, we're celebrating 350 today. And we're doing it so by ranking the 350th games released for various platforms, which is probably a really bad idea. But we're about to find out. Brace yourselves for mediocrity, because the Stone Age Gamer podcast starts now. Well, hi, everyone. This is episode 351. It's the week of March 26th, 2021. How you doing?
Back problems.
Yep.
Mold, Kris.
Yeah, my knee's still effed up. Probably going to need surgery. Good times.
It sucks. Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I finally saw a doctor about my knee, which I hurt at Christmas.
Yeah.
And just stopped getting better. So I saw the doctor and they're like, yeah, here's a couple of things we're going to test around for, but it's probably going to need surgery because it's a knee and that's what they do.
That's at a certain point in your life, they just go, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, at a certain point, when you hurt your knee, it's just like, well, you can try all these other things, but it's always going to lead to the same place.
Tiff and I were watching snowboarding last night. We're like, man, Shaun White is still out there snowboarding, and he's only 34. But, like, there comes a point where, like, watching these things, because I used to skateboard as a kid, and, like, I would just throw myself at the earth and fucking see what happened, you know? Like, because there's nothing worse in skateboarding when your board stops and you don't, and you get that instant transfer of motion of, like, nope, I'm still going, fuck. And, like, that's really awful. And if any of that shit happened to me now, oh my God, I'd be in traction, Kris.
Would not survive the experience.
Man, that's the shitty part about getting a little bit older, is that I still, like, want to do dumb stuff, but the consequences of my actions are so much more real than they ever have been.
See, I was visiting my in-laws, and we were helping. I went with him, my brother-in-law, to his friend's, who's getting rid of all these bushes that he wants at his house. So he has his own backhoe, which was super cool. So we went over there and just digging up bushes and wrapping them in burlap, putting them in the back of this truck, and then bringing them all back to my brother-in-law's house. And my brother-in-law lives on a converted barn, like this big old farm house. And then the place where we were was another converted farmhouse. And his friend was like, so, Kris, you gonna jump in and join us in the converted farmhouse life? I was like, are you out of your goddamn mind? I get tired just looking at Anthony's house.
Yeah.
I will happily live in my small yard, plant some flowers in a small garden with my, that's not for me. That life is very much not for me.
Yeah, no, like, I romanticize that sort of life sometimes, of, like, wouldn't it be nice? But no, it wouldn't. It wouldn't be fucking nice at all.
You know what I learned about it is that, like, it looks great in pictures, and then, like, in practice, it's like, oh my, like, they're constantly exhausted.
Yeah.
They go there and they've got, like, the chickens. They go, get up and let the chickens out, and they run around. And he's talking about, like, you know what I want to do? I want to get bees. I want to start doing bees too, and then we can sell honey. I'm like, when? When are you going to do this?
It just living when you have land, like when you have a big piece of property, it makes you fucking stupid. Like, it makes you do shit that you have no business doing. I'm gonna go dig a crick. Like, what? No, you're not. Stop it. Well, yeah, it'd be nice for the ducks.
He does,
and then they'll come in.
The ducks. For the ducks, we're gonna get ducks too.
Yeah, we're gonna get ducks too. Like, so they can run around with the chickens, you know, and then maybe like a turkey or two, and then I don't know. I was thinking of like building a stable so we could have like a horse or some goats or some shit.
Let's get some oxen.
If you get get some oxen, if you get goats, Chris, you don't even need to mow the lawn. They'll just go around and they'll chew all the grass. So like they're really doing the work for you, man. And then if you get bees are actually really cool, and they're not stinging fucking assholes. They're not monsters. They're like they're super necessary. And fuck you for not loving bees. Like it sends you down this path of fucking craziness. And then like 10, 15 years into it, you wake up and you go, what is happening? How did this become my life? God damn it.
That's just it. I didn't understand the connective tissue there. Like, I didn't understand how we're like off doing this thing with these giant bushes, and it's just like this collection of boxwoods, and we're off doing this, and there's all sorts of stuff to do, like back at the house. It's like we didn't leave with things taken care of.
No.
And like, for example, there was they needed a new washer and dryer, so they borrowed a truck from a friend. This truck was awesome. The speedometer didn't work. So
how fast are we going? I don't know.
Oh, best guess. So we got the washer and dryer, and we pulled it up to the back door, which is near the floor where the washer and dryer belonged. And we got them off, and then we loaded the old ones back on, and we went to drive the truck away, and the truck would not get out of the area where we had it because it was like kind of muddy because it had been snowing and raining and all that for a long time. So
yeah, sure.
The truck got stuck. We tried many, many things to get the truck unstuck. Then the next morning when everything was frozen, we got the truck mostly unstuck, but then it started skidding out and skidded down in this corner where all these rocks were. And then we went to go get the bushes.
Wow.
So like there was, besides the truck, then there's just the regular stuff not done yet. And I'm like, that's stressing me out on the kind of guy who's like, well, the dishes aren't done upstairs, but I have to go downstairs and record a podcast, so I'll just do it before I go to bed. And it's like mountains of so much more work because this property and this house are gigantic. And then he's like, I'm gonna get some bees on top of this shit. I'm like, what are you doing?
Go ahead. Go fucking nuts. We're gonna sell honey. No, you're not. You're just gonna have bees.
He's gonna do it too. I don't know when he's going to do it, but he's going to pull it off. They pull it off.
That is some supreme white people shit.
It's some nonsense. I have the utmost respect, but wow, is that just not my life? I get so stressed out visiting that place. Like, oh boy.
Yeah.
So that was a fun weekend. I spent a lot of time pushing a truck. That was a good time. I did learn about burlap and wrapping plants. That was cool because I didn't understand. We stopped at the hardware store on the way out to get burlap, and I just assumed that it was for a project he was working on because he also does all sorts of woodworking and wood crafting stuff.
Sure.
And like, dude made his own paper. That was pretty neat. He used to make lots of paper.
No, it's not. Stop it. That's not neat. What
else would you call that? Making your own paper?
Sad.
No.
Very sad.
No way.
No, that's sad.
That's too much of a skill to be considered sad.
Why is that a skill? The amount of work.
Paper?
So the fuck what? The amount of I can go to the store and buy a whole shitload of paper way quicker than it takes to make like, I did. Nobody fucking writes anymore on paper. Ugh.
Okay.
Gross. Are you from the past?
Here's where I landed the neat, this is a cool trick thing. All right. He used the flowers from his wife's wedding bouquet to make paper for like this like framed thing about his wedding. Like he used the flowers from the wedding to make a wedding present kind of a thing. Like it's a neat skill to have.
Who likes their spouse that much? Ew.
You do.
I know, but still.
I lost the thread on that one.
I'm sorry.
It was a weird ass weekend.
Making paper.
Yeah, oh, right. I learned about the burlap, right?
Yeah.
Because I figured it was just for some sort of crafting thing. And then we got there, and then he digs out a bush with the backhoe, which is awesome because this dude owns his own backhoe, and it's fantastic.
Of course he does.
And like, this is his friend. Anthony doesn't own his own backhoe. He wants one, and like, really, who can blame him?
Yeah.
But like,
No, I mean, I want a backhoe just to like go around fucking with shit.
Just for the sake of owning a backhoe, right? It's awesome. It had like the big claw on the front of it. It's like, but like at least with Anthony, I could see how he could use something like that. I want a backhoe just because I want to play with it. But
yeah, I just want a toy. I just want to go to Diggerland. Really, is that theme park open up again?
I don't know if it's open yet, but man, that place is great.
Is it? I've never been.
Oh, it's great. We've taken John a bunch of times because he was like super into trucks. Yeah, Diggerland's great.
Yeah, no, my girls were like, no, we don't want to go to that. I was like, yeah, but you're not like girly girls. And they were like, yeah, but still.
Come on, you get to operate
like work.
Machinery. It's
I
fun.
know. It's like, I was like, guys, this seems awesome.
It really is. That place is great. So anyway, they dig out the things, and then he gets out the burlap, and he wraps it up on the bottom of the tree in the burlap, and I'm thinking, all right, I've seen trees like that. I wonder why that is. It's because the burlap biodegrades. Like, it just, you just bury it in, you don't take it out of that to put it in the ground, you just plop that sucker in, bury it, and then they go. It's like, that's genius. That's so cool. Thing I learned about landscaping today. Well, this weekend.
Did you know that you can use, and this is if you're ever doing any more flower beds or anything outside, because we're talking about building a path like on the side, widening our driveway and shit, and doing some other things over the summer. But if you're going to make like a flower bed, one of the things you can do is use cardboard, like recyclable, biodegradable cardboard. You just put that down and it will biodegrade and like has nutrients and shit that will like help the soil. And that way you don't have to put like plastic bags and shit down. Just put the cardboard down. Give yourself a nice flat surface to work on.
That's neat. I didn't put any plastic down either. I just threw seeds in the ground.
Here, grow, you dicks.
And they're coming back too. We got a bunch of flowers coming back. I'm very excited about it. Most of what I planted last year is returning. And then I took I separated my two flower garden beds that I built last year. Yeah. Because I made the dumbass mistake of putting them right next to each other. And I was like, cool. And they're like short enough so I can reach the other side. It'll be fine. And then I couldn't because like everything in the middle I couldn't reach because I didn't want to stand in the flower beds. Like, sure. This is stupid. So I moved over the second one. I separated them and moved it over a couple of feet. So now I got this path in the middle. Totally set this year.
A path.
Very excited. Can't you tell?
I can.
I was out there doing all kinds of yard. I was clipping trees, tree trunks, tree branches today, and reshaping a couple of bushes, and it was a good time. I was out there because it was nice today.
It was nice today. Yeah. It's gonna be nice this week.
Yes, it is gonna be nice this week. It's gonna be warmer than my lunch would have you believe.
Okay.
But the timing was perfect on it. So like, all right.
I'm having pot roast all week.
Well, it was
stew and potatoes.
You're not that far off. It was one of my favorite trashy meals from when I was younger is like corned beef hash. That's basically you just make mashed potatoes, then you open up a can of Hormel corned beef and just throw it in there, mix it all up, and there you go. It looks like dog food, but it tastes amazing.
Yeah, whatever.
So we had corned beef and cabbage on St. Pat's Day because Karen likes to do that every year on St. Patrick's Day. She absolutely nailed it. And there was like half the corned beef left. And she was like, you know what you should do next week? You should make corned beef hash out of this. The concept of using actual fresh corned beef had never crossed my mind.
Just never even a thought.
This is going to be amazing. And so that's my lunch this week. And yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I am so with you on the corned beef, but cabbage can get fucked. Hard.
I
gross.
Generally speaking, am not interested in cabbage. When Karen cooks it for this one specific meal, it is good. I'm not going to say it's great. I'm not going to say it's my favorite part of the meal, but it's not like boiled and soft and gross like I think cabbage always is. It's like kind of crunchy, and it's only good the night she makes it. Because when you have leftovers, then it becomes this soggy sadness of cabbage, and I'm not okay with that. But that one night when it's freshly made, that is the one time where I'll be like, I'm into this. Cabbage can live. One, because it looks neat, and 2, because of this one specific time on this one specific meal where I will eat it, and all other times it can jump off a cliff. Well, not all other times. Fresh cabbage on a fish taco is a pretty decent deal.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But boiled...
Yeah, once you start cooking it down...
Gross.
Yeah, no. It's got to still have crunch. If it doesn't have crunch, then you're just putting sadness on a plate, and I'm not okay with that.
That's right. Take my sadness out of a bottle like a real American.
Damn right. You been playing any video games this week?
So I went and bought a new game, Chris, because that's what I needed to do. Because now with the PlayStation 5, I'm like, new shit. Fuck a back catalog. Mostly though, because there was a listing, right? So listings and ratings don't always turn out to be much of anything. But there was, through the German ratings board that got posted on like Reddit or some shit, there was a rating for Jedi Fallen Order as being a native PS5 version. So that means that instead of just an updated patch of like, we're going to make it run at 60 frames per second or whatever, they're actually going in and adding things to the game to take effect of like the adaptive triggers, like the force feedback and shit. And then, improve the graphics, the fucking lock in the frame rate, 60 frames per second, all that good stuff. So I was like, well, shit. I hope that comes true, because that's really my only issue with the game right now, is that there's some like chunkiness to it that is just very, like I talked about last week. It's just very jarring coming off of something like Ghost of Tsushima. So I was like, all right, well, I had to go to GameStop because I was walking around the store and Penny had wanted Lefty from the Five Nights at Freddy's figures. And I finally saw him, and I was like, oh shit, I'm going to get Lefty for Penny, and I got to get something for Katie. Well, Walmart didn't have anything that Katie would have wanted, so I was like, all right, there's GameStop right over here. I was popping to GameStop real quick. I'll get her like a Pokemon plushie or whatever. While I was there, dicking around, I was like, Marvel's Avengers is only $30 brand new, and it just got its native PS5 patch. So, yeah, I'm just getting that. So
$30 still feels like more than I would be willing to risk on that particular game.
So I'm about 2 hours into it, and it's really fucking fun. It's really fun. Like, I am genuinely having a very good time going through the single player campaign. I haven't even looked at any of the multiplayer stuff, all like the grinding gear and whatnot. Like, the dude at the store was like, so did you like Destiny? And I was like, yeah, I didn't like fucking go crazy for it, but like it was good and whatever. He was like, all right, because like a lot of the stuff in this game, like the shit people complain about is that it's got some grinding of missions like Destiny. And I was like, well, actually, that works out really, really well. Because Tiff really likes to watch me play these video games. So we get like all these story-driven games, and then if she's asleep or whatever, or I'm up later or up earlier or whatever, I can't play them because she wants to play them. But then when we're both collectively awake, like life happens in between, like taking care of the kids and shit around the house and whatever. So like the actual time that we get to develop or to devote to story-based gaming is not nearly as much as I would like it to be. So why this works out well for us is that we can do the story missions, and then I can go back and do the grindy bullshit because it's just fun to play. Like, it's fun to play as Kamala Khan and make your way through the world. And she doesn't have a grappling hook. She just has stretchy arms. So like as you're running and jumping, she like flings her fucking hand out and swings on it. And it's really cool. And then you switch over to Hulk and you're just beating the shit out of everything. And you grab enemies and throw them at people and or fucking slam them back and forth in the ground. it's really fun. I having a blast. A blasty.
Well, all right.
Oh.
That's what you want to hear. You're having a blast.
Man. Like
similarly, people warned me against Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Having a blast.
Yeah, I'm having a great time. Like, I think I can see where some of the problems might have been before this native PS5 version came out, but this is my first experience with it, obviously. So playing this, it's like this is a next-gen game, you know? And they just announced all the fucking story content that's still coming for free, like the Hawkeye DLC came out, and the Kate Bishop DLC is out, and there's going to be a whole new Wakanda campaign, and Spider-Man is still coming out exclusive for PlayStation owners, which is fucking stupid. I get it. It's still kind of dumb, but Spider-Man. So, like, that's exciting. You know, it's just really fun.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I still have such a hard time getting over the art style. Like, they just look like so incredibly off-brand to me.
They do
hard to swallow, but it wasn't even really an option for me. So
no, it's weird because it straddles this weird line between comic book Avengers and movie Avengers. Because it's really neither of those things. It's certainly much more comic book than it is movie than MCU Avengers. Because like the whole story starts out where Kamala Khan has won an essay contest to go meet the Avengers. And the whole beginning of this thing is you're walking around this plaza and you have to collect comic books. And like you go into this little pavilion area where actually before you get to the pavilion area, you walk through the retro arcade and there's like Captain America and the Avengers is on one of the arcade machines and like there's kids playing it, and you look over and there's like a Captain America game and an Iron Man game and a Hawkeye game, and like it's just really cool, like these old arcade cabinets with like 16-bit like sprites and whatnot going across them, and it just, that all looks really cool. And then you go into this little pavilion and it's a little Iron Man section, and Kamala tries on a repulsor glove, and like Thor shows up and he starts like talking shit about Tony Stark, and like there's a really cool little interaction with that, and there's this just really neat like opening section where you're walking through all this stuff, and then you find out that the Avengers are introducing this new clean energy that they've found, in cooperation with scientists and all that shit. And it turns out that the energy that they're using is the Terrigen mists that created all the Inhumans, right? So naturally,
good things always come when people start playing with the Terrigen mist. That's always a good time.
There's never a problem with that. So naturally, big fucking disaster. Everybody thinks Captain America is dead. Kamala Khan gets her powers. Everybody hates the Avengers right now. You know, the fucking lead scientist who was there starts AIM, and he looks like he's gonna turn into MODOK. Like, it's this really cool fucking story, and I was like, I don't know what people are hating about this game. I don't understand. It's kind of how I felt when Tiff and I went to see what was episode 8, The Last Jedi? Yeah. Is that what that one was? Yeah. When Tiff and I went to see episode 8, like, there were so many bad reviews of that movie, and like people that like I love and I'm friends with and whatever were like, this movie fucking sucks, you're an idiot, blah blah, god, this was so bad, I hated every second of it. And like halfway through the movie I turned to Tiff and I was like, this doesn't suck, right? Like, and she was like, no, it's fucking awesome. I was like, all right, cool. I don't understand, man.
It's super easy to boil down what people had problems with that movie. We've had that conversation.
Sure.
I think that's personally bananas. I think it's great. I think it's got some big ass problems, but I think the good vastly outweighs the bad. Like, vastly.
Yeah. And that the costumes aren't great in this, but they're not the only costumes you get. There's fucking unlockable shit. Like, because it's a modern AAA video game, so of course there's unlockable shit. You know, and there's a ton of different costumes. You can get a fucking Joe Fix-It costume for Hulk. Like, walking around in the fucking pinstripe suit and shit, and he's gray. Like, come on. That right there is enough for me to be like, all right, that's worth my money. And really, I mean, honestly, $30. It is what it is. You know, that was the price that I was willing to just sight unseen kind of jump into it, and I'm glad I did.
Well, I'm really glad that worked out for you, because I really didn't think that it. I didn't think that it would. It's my understanding that it's all trash all the time. Like, it's just like, hey, you got to grind. You got to grind some shit. You want to play this for 6 hours to level up? Hey, give me $5. You can level up right now. Like that, and that's my impression of that game. Is it's just positively oozing with all of that nasty modern AAA game stuff that I can't stand. So,
and that very well might be present in the multiplayer. That's not why I bought this game, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy this game for multiplayer. I mean, I wouldn't buy this game at all, to be honest with you. I just can't get over those faces. They just don't do it for me.
It looks way better in the actual game, like in motion. It all.
Well, yeah, because you're not seeing their faces; you're just seeing their backs.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah, I mean, it kind of works, man. It really does. I'm really pleasantly surprised.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that.
Huh.
I will say similarly, Marvel 3 has been continuing to go very well for us. It's not a masterpiece, but I'm really getting the hang of it, and I just got super excited because we just got to the X-Mansion.
Oh, nice.
And I'm a big X-Men goon, right? I love X-Men.
Sure.
That's my Marvel thing. So while the MCU is like one of my favorite things in the universe right now, it's X-Men that's always been my heart and soul as far as Marvel is concerned. So when I get there and Sentinels start showing up, because I've been Wolverine pretty much this whole time, and anytime I switch to another character, it's like, that's neat. I'm gonna go back to being Wolverine because I just like being Wolverine. I wish I could be more X-Men. And then we got there, and Sentinels were showing up, and then like a Sentinel shooting the lasers at the mansion, and then Colossus comes out and blocks one, and then Cyclops comes out, and he's got the 90s blue outfit on. Like,
oh nice.
This is really nice. This is really, really cool. And so you go in there and you start fighting and whatnot. You're beating up Sentinels, and I'm like, John's asking questions like, what are these guys? These big robots. I'm like, these are Sentinels, and they're out to fight mutants. And he's like, oh, that's an even bigger Sentinel. I was like, oh man, you haven't even seen Master Mold yet. I'm just diving into X-Men lore left and right. And then the Blackbird flies by, and Psylocke and Nightcrawler jump out. And I'm like, yes,
oh, nice.
I can be Nightcrawler. He's got two of the cutlasses. He's pretty cool. I tried being him for a couple minutes. It's like, this is cool, but I'm used to Wolverine, so I'm making you my fourth. I'm still being
Wolverine.
I'm making you my fourth. It can't be Cyclops and Colossus, though. That pissed me off. They helped us out during the fight, but then Beast. We went to go talk to Beast. We ran by Deadpool soon, because we heard him singing about tacos. We ran through a hallway, and there's a voice off screen singing about tacos, and Karen's like, is that somebody singing about tacos? Like, I know exactly who that is. And then like 2 seconds later, she's like, I know who that is too. Is that Deadpool? Like, yeah, he's in this game, all right. And so we went out back, we talked to Beast. He has an Infinity Stone that he stole from the Hellfire Club, because of course he fucking does. He's Beast.
Naturally.
And then Sentinels show up, and more explosions happen, and Sentinel gets its hand on the Infinity Stone and fuses it with his power core, and we have to fight an Infinity Sentinel, which is going fine. And then Cyclops is like, I got a plan, follow my lead. And then all of a sudden the Sentinel explodes, and Magneto comes down, and he's got Mystique and Juggernaut with him. He's like, when has following you ever been a good idea? And I was like, yes. Magneto's here. And that's where we had to stop, because we ran out of time for the evening. But the mission was convince Magneto to join the Alliance. I'm like, oh, tell me I get to be Magneto. I will definitely try that action out.
That would be awesome.
Like, I know there's X-Men DLC, but I know that you can't really unlock the DLC characters till later in the game. And I'm like reluctant to throw the money at the DLC. But I want to play as Moon Knight. I want to play as the Fantastic Four, and like they have their own quests. But I think that stuff happens later. So I want to see how well everything continues to congeal. But Karen and John are really enjoying playing the game, and I'm really having a lot of fun with it, because it's fucking broken. It's so frustratingly broken so often. The camera is so maddening, because like okay, we finished fighting a Sentinel, and there were 5 more Sentinels off screen down, right? Because it's mostly top view, kind of like the Ultimate Alliance games are, that kind of isometric-ish view. We finished beating these Sentinels. John goes up to go mess with a car. John's player 2. I'm player 1, Karen's player 3. We go down to deal with the Sentinels. The camera will not stop fixating on John, who's trying to pick up a car at the top of the screen. So we're getting hit by all these lasers off screen from these Sentinels that are off screen that we're trying to run to, but we can't get to because the camera's like, no, you got to see Venom try to pick up this car. This is really cool. Like, no, game, giant robots are cooler than Venom picking up a car any day of the week. Also, giant robots are trying to kill me. I would like to see them and fight them. Because I tell you, when I'm Wolverine and then a bunch of Sentinels show up, that's exciting, right? Because, I'm Wolverine, I'm going to fuck up some Sentinels. This is going to be awesome. It's fun. It really is the stupid fun that I was hoping it would be. And I was a little concerned at first, because the beginning of it's a little weird, with it being so Guardians of the Galaxy heavy. But boy, did it has come together in a masterwork of really fun, mediocre gameplay.
It's really all that matters, as long as you're having fun. Real quick, though.
Yeah, no, back to
before
you.
You move on. What top 5 favorite X-Men? Just off the top of your head.
God, I've been thinking about this lately, and I've been so...
I know you have.
Because I keep thinking of, especially since we got to this area with the Sentinels, but it's really hard for me to answer that now, because my tastes have changed so much since I've been generally into X-Men. I lived and breathed that cartoon, that animated series of X-Men, and the action figures that came out around the same time, and the
shitty
cards.
Toy Biz ones. Yeah.
And I didn't have comic book shop near me, so I didn't get to read most X-Men comic books until later. So a lot of my knowledge comes from the comic book and every word that was written on the back of series after series of Marvel trading cards. There was a point in time where Wolverine was my favorite, and that was mostly because I really liked the fact that nobody knew who he was. And then I got out of comics for a long time, and then everybody knew who he was. Wolverine's past has been fully explored now. There is no mystery of who this guy was. And, then it was super aggressive. Wolverine is the poster child. He's in 30,000 comics, and he's an Avenger. He's everything. And all right, that's cool. I still like Wolverine quite a lot. I also really liked Gambit. I loved Gambit. He was my favorite. Right next to Wolverine, there came a certain point, while watching the animated series, that I transitioned to Gambit being my favorite, because I loved his power so very much. I thought it was such a creative power that it was it's another one of my favorite things about the X-Men is that their powers aren't always straightforward. They're just this weird shit that happens. Everything with Rogue of just, what an interesting power set. I kill people by touching them. Okay, that's awful.
That's terrible and tragic, and
And one of my favorite things about Gambit was he was super playful about it, but that dude loved Rogue, and he was willing to sacrifice literally anything to get up on. He's
to get a piece of that ass.
I will gladly make out with you. For a coma, no question. You mean I get to sleep for a month? No question. Dude's on top of it. Love that. I really like Cartoon Beast. I like what Beast used to be in the comics before he kind of, around Joss Whedon's Astonishing run, where he kind of turned into Cat Beast more and got a bit more diabolical. I really like Cartoon Beast, though, because he's just this super friendly, smart, but kind of sad dude because he's a big blue furball and kind of funky looking. But I love Cartoon Beast. This is Colossus is phenomenal. Love me some Colossus.
He makes my top 5.
Yeah, Colossus in my top 5. Kitty Pryde, depending on who's writing her and when. Right? Because sometimes she's amazing and sometimes she's just kind of annoying, but most of the time she's amazing. So I kind of feel like Kitty Pryde really deserves to be up there. I never took to Jean the way a lot of people did. I did
not a big Jean guy.
Yeah, I did think Cyclops got really interesting around when he went when he kind of went more extreme and kind of became a lot of what Magneto was. It's such a hard question. There's so many interesting and multi-layered characters because sometimes you like them and sometimes you don't. Because
I have never been a Cyclops fan.
I didn't like him in the old cartoon, and I didn't like him when he became more militant and the whole Cyclops was right thing, but I enjoyed reading him. Like, I always liked that the character was there. I always felt that he was very necessary, and whenever there's X-Men teams that don't have him around there, especially when you're looking at old style X-Men stuff where he's like the stereotypical just bland vanilla good guy. I felt like he was such a necessary force because every now and then he would have something very interesting to say, and like he would be aware of who he was and why he was, and that was interesting. And I mean, you know, it also depends so much on which variation you're talking about, because there's also X-Men Evolution, which was such a fantastic show and such a cool take on the X-Men because you removed the whole Scott, Jean, Logan triangle thing, right? You still have Scott, Jean, and Logan, but like Scott and Jean are teenagers and Wolverine's like a teacher. So there's none of that Wolverine Jean thing going on there. And that was great.
It was great.
That show, minus season 1, was pretty rocky, but man, that show got its treads down. That show was fantastic and such a great take on X-Men. And Scott was really likable in that too. He was a fairly likable dude in that show. I love that show. Love X-Men. I don't know how to properly answer that question. I really don't. And every time I try to get back into X-Men comics, there's too much going on. And
there's so much right now.
Right? There's always
right
so
now
much.
It's even more impossible because Jonathan Hickman is writing them. And I fucking love Jonathan Hickman. That dude is so smart and so good. And it's the only time I've ever liked the Fantastic Four is when Hickman wrote them. That guy is great. But the stuff that they're doing right now, holy fucking Moses.
Well, I mean, he's like the slow burn dude, right? Like,
very much.
He lays groundwork. And I was lost. Last time I tried to read it was when they did the most recent X-Men Blue and Gold books.
Oh, God, that was a few years ago.
It was a few years back, and I was enjoying it. I really was. And then they threw Red in there, and then they were like, I was going to jump onto Red, and then they were like, you know what? Never mind. We're screwing all this up. Hickman's taking over. There's going to be some other massive event, and then that event's going to lead to 3 other events, which will tie into another event that might be tied to this other book and these 3 other books. So if you read all of those, you might understand what's going on there, but you probably go back 5 years and read this side story, a couple of Star Wars books, maybe some DC stuff too. That all ties into this X-Men book, which relates to this X-Men book from 40 years ago, and this one from 50 years ago, from before the X-Men even existed, but it ties into another issue that happened like 6 years before that and 6 years prior, and then this one takes place 500 years in the future, where you actually have to travel 500 years in the future to get the digital book, bring it back, because you can only read it today when it translates automatically into current day English, even though it's written in 500 years in the future. Super fantastic, uber English. And I'm like, I just want to read the X-Men.
I just want Wolverine going snickety snack.
I would like to fight. I want to see him punch Juggernaut in the helmet, please.
That's it. I find that interesting because out of everyone you just mentioned, the only one that would make my top 5 is Colossus. Because the rest of my top 5, I think there's a couple that like are definitely in other people's, like Iceman is number 1. I fucking love that character.
Iceman
always have. Have.
Bobby Drake is a winner. Very good call.
Excellent. Number 2, Havoc.
Yeah, I never got into Havoc.
Love Havoc.
It's not because I never got my most exposure to Havoc was around when they wanted him to take over as leader of the X-Men,
right?
Because like Scott had gone all militant, and they're like, "You should take care of this, Alex. Go for it." And he was like trying to do his own thing. But that's the most Havoc I ever read, because I wasn't really reading. I didn't really know, and I wasn't reading X Factor, and I wasn't reading X books back when Havoc was, kind of a bigger deal. Again, there were no books around then, and he wasn't in the cartoon, and so just a lack of exposure.
Storm.
Yeah, okay. I can see that.
Adore Storm. I love Storm to the point where I hate Halle Berry as a human now. Like, just for what she did to that character.
That was a pitiful interpretation of Storm.
Oh boy.
I didn't love Storm in the cartoon either, which is why I liked her fine, but she was kind of like, she was very speechy, like, I have all these big old powers, but I'm gonna like, Mistress of the Elements commands you to like make a fucking cloud and zap the guy. Stop preaching.
That's not the Storm that I like. Comic book Storm.
Storm in Evolution was great too.
Yeah,
she was fantastic. She had just the right attitude. She'd be like flying on the Blackbird, and Wolverine would be like, "It's all this snow. Can't you like do something about the snow?" She's like, "I'm a weather witch, not a snowplow." That's a line from the show.
That is out fucking standing. Also, I will say the only good thing that was given to us by Halle Berry is her reaction when Kelsey Grammer walks up to her in the movie. Is like, fucking great. I love it so much.
Also,
really,
can we just...
That's more Kelsey Grammer than anything.
Yeah. Can we give a big hug to Kelsey Grammer, who was like, he wanted to do that role so much, he got back in that full ridiculous makeup for about 4 seconds in that Days of Future Past movie or whatever, like at the end. That dude was so perfectly cast 10, 20 years too late. Like,
yeah, he really was.
So ridiculous, but he was so game to do it. And X-Men 3 was such a terrible movie.
Yeah, honestly,
it's so bad.
It's so bad. It is my favorite of that first trilogy. I hate the other two so much.
I like X-Men too.
I despise those fucking movies. Anyway, before we go too much further down this rabbit hole, Colossus is the other one. And then always in my top 5, and I don't think in anybody else's that I've ever really talked to,
Cypher.
Long Shot.
Long Shot.
Long Shot. All
right.
Love Long Shot.
Long Shot's awesome. That's a great pick. Was he ever an X-Men? Did he ever really join up with a team?
Yeah, I mean, he was in enough X-Men comics.
I mean, he's not a mutant. He's, No, he's just fucking all the shit with Mojo and like the future, like, oh my God, the Mojoverse stuff. Like when Jim Lee was doing that in the X-Men books, I was like, yes, this is so awesome. And I've loved Long Shot ever since. That's a good pick. I like that. I like Long Shot.
Long Shot.
Nightcrawler's pretty up there too, but I'm not a big
Nightcrawler would be top 10.
I'm not a big religion guy, so a lot of his character gets a little lost on me, but generally speaking, Kurt's just fantastic. He's been taken in a lot of really cool directions too. I like it.
Yeah.
Really, you hate X-Men too, huh?
Oh God, I hate that movie. I love the opening scene with Nightcrawler. After that, great. The entire movie is hot garbage.
Oh, come on! But when they storm the mansion,
no,
and this
sucks.
As a kid, right, growing up on that X-Men cartoon, it was like the first time you saw Leonardo use his katanas like for real in the original Ninja Turtles movie. This was the first time I saw Wolverine actually use his claws on people. Like,
I get that.
When he pins him against the fridge and he just screams at him, and he turns around to Bobby's like, "You all right?
You good?"
And Bobby's like, "If I say no, what will you do?" This isn't okay. I'm not okay. Stop pretending this is okay. When that Colossus guy comes out and he's like, "Yo, wait till the next movie."
Yeah, X-Men 3. We don't have the budget. Fuck
and
off. There's
just so many good lines in that movie. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I quote Magneto from that movie with, "Is that what they say?"
I don't know. I like what Ian McKellen did as Magneto, but I don't like focusing on the escape from Nazi Germany aspect of Magneto. Not in that I don't think he should be escaped from some, like, it's such a central part of his character. I get it, but trying to shoehorn that in now is like still, when they did it for those first X-Men movies, it was like, you're too fucking old to, like, that you would be too old right now. This isn't believable anymore. Like, you could have updated it. Like, it's one of the things I really worry about with like Avengers Endgame and shit, because they put dates on it, and that really kind of it pigeonholes you, right?
Well, on the other hand, it does kind of keep it it keeps it grounded to when it happened. Like,
yeah,
you can't pretend that didn't happen when like this kind of technology existed. And I really like the fact that they put dates on it. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
This takes place here, so this is why people don't have magic butt phones, you know?
But I love magic butt phones.
But they didn't exist in 1995, so...
But they might have, you don't know.
Captain Marvel fucked up the Street Fighter thing in the flashback, but I will forgive lots of things.
Yeah. Anyway, weird wild tangent. You play any other video games other than your top 5 favorite X-Men?
Marvel, we're almost on Metroid Fusion. John's still totally freaking into it. Like I said, we went to visit my in-laws, and I'm downstairs listening to him upstairs trying to explain the Metroid mythology to his cousin, who's never even freaking heard of it before, because
they live on a farm and they don't have television.
he plays like, you know, I got him the Sega Genesis thing. He's not really up on all the all the Nintendo stuff. So it's
right.
You know, it is what it is. I'm sure he's heard of the character before just from playing Smash Brothers and whatnot with us, but
right.
He's like going into all the Zeta Metroids, the Omega Metroids, and Mother Brain and stuff. Like this. I've created a monster and I love it. But,
you really have.
So we're almost done Fusion. I think we're maybe like a half an hour tops away from finishing the game. So we'll probably finish that tomorrow. And he seems like really ripe to jump into Metroid Prime immediately. So, and I'm totally into that idea because I haven't played Metroid Prime in way too long. So I'll keep that train going.
All right, then.
But that's been pretty much it. I will say that there have been 2 news stories that we didn't talk about that we really should have. And first of all, Blaster Master 03 was announced.
Yeah.
And I just about lost my shit. I just kept forgetting to throw it in the script, and I keep putting it out of mind because it's not, till July, I think?
Something like that, yeah.
It's got like some dimension hopping thing, I think, going on. I don't know. I don't care. I love 0 and 02. I cannot freaking believe that there's going to be a third one. I mean, I can, because the other ones did well, right? 0 and 02 have done
pretty well.
Very not Inti Create's highest properties, but certainly enough to justify the cost, because it's not like they're putting a lot of money into these, which is why they look the way that they do, which is fine. I think they look great. But
I think so too.
I love it. I love that this is a thing, that we're getting more Blaster Master. It seems like they're trying to put this as like the finale of the trilogy. So like, we're probably not going to get any more sequels after this, unless it's
that's
like
okay, though, because like, how much more do you need to milk this, right?
I mean, I'll keep playing Blaster Master games. It's like they keep playing. It's one of those franchises like Metroid and Mega Man and Mario. They keep making them. I'll keep playing them.
Yeah,
and I don't see. But I mean, that's just it. They could just move on to something that's not Blaster Master 0. Like,
right, that's what I'm saying. Like, how much longer do you go down this path before you push forward?
I don't know. I want to see them push more forward. I think that would be really cool, but I also love how forward they've pushed this, because Blaster Master 0 was like a really cool modern interpretation of Blaster Master, but then 02 was a real sequel to it. Like, added actual tangible differences to the way the game played, like a real sequel should. And I can't wait to see what they do with the third one. I'm just over the freaking moon. I can't believe I'm living in a world where there are more Blaster Master games than Kid Icarus games.
It's a weird fucking world.
It is a weird world.
I'm into it.
Boy. And of course, the other one is the new Ninja Turtles game.
Yeah, really excited about that. No, really excited about it.
Shredder's Revenge. It's from the team that did Scott Pilgrim, right?
Yep. People that worked on Scott Pilgrim, not the whole team, but
yeah, people that worked on them. It's based on the old Turtles cartoon,
which is awesome.
Is neat. It's certainly I
will fucking lose my shit if Manta Ray or Usagi Yojimbo make an appearance.
That would be wild.
That would be game of the year for me.
Absolutely nuts. I don't know what to expect from this other than greatness, but generally speaking, like specifics, I don't know what to expect. It looks fantastic. I just don't even know what to do with myself right now.
Yeah, it looks great. I hope there's a good online multiplayer component so that we can, do the same shit that we did before.
Absolutely do the same shit we did with Streets of Rage. I can't imagine not. Just, this is one of those games I just can't believe exists. Just, what the hell, man? Why are we making new Ninja Turtles games based on that old cartoon right now?
So, yeah. It's a
not
weird
complaining.
Choice.
Not complaining.
But it's a weird choice.
If I take a step back logically and say, why are we doing this right now? I don't care, but I kind of am curious.
I don't know.
I love it. I'm glad they are, but I guess because you're not going to make a game like this based on the current Ninja Turtles iteration that's been canceled that kids seem to enjoy, but pretty much every adult is like, this is shitty.
That the one before this one was great.
Yeah, 2012 Ninja Turtles is one of my favorite iterations of the Turtles in general. That was a great show.
That's kind of where the comics grew out of, right? That sort of style. Am I crazy there?
Well, are you talking about the original run or the current run?
The original run. The 2012.
The 2012 series is where the current comics came from? No, they both happen around the same time. They're very different. I think the current IDW run started before the 2012 animated series happened, and they're both extremely different continuities in tone.
No, sure, but they have a similar I get a similar vibe from them. Not that they are even a little bit the same, but I just get a similar vibe is maybe the wrong word. Like there's just a level of quality and care that is in there. I don't know.
And reverence for the source material in that they are both smart takes that incorporate aspects of all previous iterations of the Ninja Turtles intelligently.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can definitely see that as a through line there. And technically they exist within the same multiverse because we know that there's a Ninja Turtles multiverse.
Right.
Thank you, Turtles
it's
forever.
Not the whatever the fuck the new what is DC calling the new Omniverse, I think maybe? I don't know.
I'm a little out of that train. But that was it for video game things. I did want to mention that I watched the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier.
We did as well.
I rather enjoyed it.
It was great.
Yes, it was great. It was a solid bit of TV right there. Very curious to see where it's going. It was obviously safer than WandaVision, but everything else is
going to be.
Yeah, I can understand why this was originally planned to be the first of the TV series.
Yeah.
Because it's very MCU. It's not full of too many surprises. It was very well done. I very much enjoyed it.
And fucking U.S. Agent, man. John Walker. I'm really
so funny.
I'm really, really curious to see where they go with the John Walker character.
Oh, me too. I really am. That's a really interesting thing to jump in with. I'm sure that guy looks perfectly fine from other angles, but that shot was doofy as hell.
And very intentionally. Like, that's Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell's kid.
I know.
Wyatt Russell. He's a good actor, man.
I have no doubt that that's going to be great. But, like, I don't know if you've seen all the memes out there of, like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's...
I posted one on Facebook. The Chris Evans cap is Jersey and New York bagels. And
Yeah.
Wyatt Russell's bagels from the other 48. No, I'm really curious to see, like, are they going to go full-fledged psychopath with him?
I wouldn't be surprised. After WandaVision, I don't think there's any limits.
Story, taken to the modern extreme, like, and there's really interesting things that you can do with, like, PTSD and former soldiers and that sort of shit, and like, there's just because in the comics, for anybody who doesn't know, who watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we're getting a little paper cutsy here.
Somebody should.
Somebody should. You're not wrong. Evan, call me. For anybody who was like, who the fuck is that guy? In the comic books, Cap retired from being Captain America for a little bit because he was like, fuck you, government. You're being super government right now, and I don't like it. So he went and took on the role of, I think he went to become Nomad at that point, or U.S. agent. I forget which he did first. I would have to go back and look at it. But so they replaced him with John Walker, who got his powers from a dude named the Power Broker, who also gave powers to the guy who was John Walker's Captain America's Bucky, which was a black guy named Lamar Hoskins, who eventually became Battlestar because, like, Marvel Comics at the time did not realize how super fucking offensive it was to have a black guy named Bucky, because that referred to, like, they used to call slaves back in the day bucks, and, like, it was like, oh shit, guys, you really maybe shouldn't have fucking done that, which is why the Black Bucky eventually became Battlestar, who I really hope is in the show too. That would be really cool. But he eventually has to stop being Captain America because he's too fucking violent. Like, he's just murdering dudes. And, like, Captain America certainly kills people, but, like, doesn't have fun doing it. Like, he's in a soldier kind of way. Mm-hmm. Whereas fucking John Walker was like, nah, this is awesome. I'm just going to beat dudes to death with my hands. And I don't know if they're going to go that far in the show. I hope they do.
I honestly think after WandaVision, anything's on the table.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. It's only 6 episodes.
It's only 6 episodes. I thought it was 8.
No, it's 6.
I could be wrong. Damn.
6 episodes, then a break, then Loki, then a break, then What If. Then
we also have a couple of movies peppered in there too. So
yeah,
I think the movies
really
are coming.
The only thing that
break.
matters this coming Friday, Chris, is Godzilla versus Kong. That's
Fair
really
enough.
the only thing that, I mean, like, I will be very excited to watch episode 2 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but it's Godzilla versus Kong. That's like,
there's enough to do both in one night.
Just a raging, throbbing nerd boner is just, it's protruding. It's disgusting, quite frankly.
Well, speaking of that, I will also say that I, out of sheer morbid curiosity and going in with the openest of all possible minds from my perspective, I took back the first quote-unquote episode of the Snyder Cut.
How was it?
I'm trying to not be mean here, but I know this is making a lot of people very happy.
Yeah.
I do not understand why.
Oh.
It's come to my attention that it gets pretty decent, at least during some of the other parts, but when the opening of the movie was the ending of the last shitty movie in slow motion.
Wow.
So it's the end of Batman v Superman, right? When Superman's dying for no goddamn reason.
Dude, I have watched each of those movies once. And I don't remember them because I hated them both. So the only thing I remember after watching it the one time is the Martha shit, because it was so absurd.
So Doomsday was there, and there was the Kryptonite spear, right? And then there's Wonder Woman. There was the Kryptonite spear that was the thing that could kill Doomsday. You had Wonder Woman there who could have carried the spear, no problem, and killed him. And then you had Batman over there who probably could have thrown the spear just as well and killed him. But no, Superman, the one who would be killed by the spear, was the only one who could go over there and kill him with the spear that kills the both of them. Because stupid. So you get to see that in slow motion.
Is it Zack Snyder slow motion?
Yep.
I can't fucking talk tonight. I don't know what's wrong with me. Is it Zack Snyder slow motion where it's all like zooming around in circles and shit? I fucking love 300. And I have not liked a Zack Snyder movie since.
So yes, it's very Zack Snyder slow motion. But the thing that got me was that it's like, so the way they explain the mother box is waking up is because Superman died, and when he died, he screamed as he was being stabbed by the spear for no goddamn reason. And so
shit.
the sound waves of that, the ripples of the sound waves of that scream, you then follow in slow motion for about 7 minutes.
Oh, wow. That
establishing shot of and this just goes for a long time. Like, here's it going to Atlantis, and here's establishing shot of Atlantis, and and here's some fish, here's some people in Atlantis, there's the mother box, there's the hitting the thing, and this just goes through Themyscira, through Atlantis, through, I don't know, a Wawa in South Jersey. It's just everywhere that it can show, because immediately it's so obvious that this needed an editor. This clearly did not need to be 4 hours long, because it is so full of just me sitting there in bed watching this on my phone, screaming internally, do something! Anything! Do something! And it's just not. And all I'm doing is following the sound barf, right? And then you get to that. There was the scene
Superman
where
yelling balls. That would have at least been funny.
Wonder Woman say the I don't know if you've seen the Joss Whedon Justice League, but there was a scene the scene in the beginning where Diana saves the people in the museum or whatever, right? There's a museum heist going on.
You could tell me literally anything happens in that movie, and I will agree with you, because I do not remember a second of it. I know Steppenwolf was there, and I was disappointed that he didn't look like my old fucking Kenner figure.
Well, Steppenwolf looks hilarious in this one too. Just a different hilarious. But so she saves everyone in this museum, right? And like the museum robbers are there, like, we're gonna blow up a bunch of this. We're just gonna blow up a bunch of the city. And like it gets to the point where he's shooting at the hostages, and she saves all the hostages, and then she does the clash bang thing with her arms crossed and blows the entire wall off the side of the museum. It was one dude with a gun. She could have just punched the guy, but in an effort,
truth, maybe fucking
she
tiara
blew
of
up
flingy.
the museum. She stopped the bombing by blowing up the museum. What the fuck?
Makes sense.
What? Stop. There was no thought put into that. What are you doing? And it was that right there hit me just as hard as, like, remember in Man of Steel where, like, Pa Kent's over there, he's gonna die in the tornado, and then Superman's
that
like,
need to happen.
But I'm Superman, I could get over there and save you. And Pa Kent's like holding up his hand like, no, they'll see you, and then they'll know who you are. He's like, I'm Superman. 1, I could get there and back before these people could blink, and 2, who cares? You're gonna die. And he's like,
and
nah.
3, it's a tornado. They're kind of fucking distracted, Dad.
It's like, no, I got this. And then he dies for no reason. Just like Superman died in Batman v Superman for no reason.
That's the difference. The key difference, like, because everybody always asks, like, why are the Marvel movies so good and the DC movies hot garbage? And the difference between the two studios is that the Marvel writers, and like, I'm not saying that these are the greatest movies ever made or anything, but the Marvel writers understand that the characters have to earn it on screen. And nothing in the DC universe is earned. Because, like, Superman, Clark Kent does not earn the moniker of Superman by not saving his fucking father. Like, the reason that worked in the Superman 78 is because Jonathan Kent dies and there's nothing Superman can do about it. That's why it works. Because now he realizes in that moment that he has to do everything he can up until the point where there's nothing he can do anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in this one, he could have done something, and they just don't fucking earn it. It's not earned.
It's all about looking cool.
The reason that people screamed, I still, every single fucking time I see Captain America catch Thor's hammer, I get fucking chills because he earned it over 23 fucking movies.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
And he doesn't... the reason we all scream when he yells, Avengers Assemble, finally, is because it took 23 movies for him to fucking say it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if it was a DC movie, the very first line of Avengers would have been Avengers Assemble. And then it would have cut to some, like, schlocky press conference or some stupid shit with a bunch of dumb camera angles and people walking around going, ciao. Yeah. Like, just looking fucking dumb. It would have been all, like, it's just not fucking earned, man.
I mean, it's hard to say it's not an improvement over the Whedon movie. I don't remember it all that well because it was very forgettable. But far,
I literally remember nothing about it.
So far, I don't think I've ever seen a movie that is so far up its own ass. And it's hard for... promise you, I am trying to watch this with an open mind because people are thrilled that this exists. And the fact that it's in 4:3 is fucking obnoxious. Like,
it's in 4:3.
Whole movie is in 4:3 because it gives you more vertical. Apparently, it gives you more screen, and it's all about more. And this movie needs a goddamn editor, and it needs to not be in so much slow motion. I just finished, I think where it ended more or less was like when Bruce went to go get Aquaman or something. And when you look at the cast in these movies, there's so much talent behind them, and it's like no one's saying anything of value, and it's making me angry, but I have to see the whole thing. I just need to see this movie. I just need to.
I'm gonna watch it. I am gonna watch the whole thing straight through.
I'm gonna do it in episode chunks. It has episodes. It's chapter 1, chapter, like there's a title screen and everything of chapters. So I'm gonna break it up into hour chunks or whatever and get through all 4 of them. But
there's people out there saying that all the way through. I'm watching this all the way through.
What's it that this scene with Jared Leto and Bruce Wayne is like the greatest scene ever filmed between these two characters? And I'm having a hard time buying that when that whole electric car thing exists from the Harley Quinn cartoon.
Anything Jack Nicholson did shits all over whatever Jared Leto was doing.
It's much like Avatar. I'm slightly predisposed to be angry at it for all the things that the director says, like when what's-his-face said that Avatar will change movies forever.
No, it won't.
No, it won't.
It'll be a movie.
It'll be a very successful movie because that 3D trick was neat, but...
Wasn't it? It really wasn't. That movie sucks ass. I hate that movie.
And when Zack Snyder was very, very like, no, this movie's for grown-ups. I'm sorry. This is for grown-ups because it's all washed out and angry for the sake of being angry and... No, when you start telling me that your superhero movie's for grown-ups, you've missed the goddamn point. If Superman can't be for kids, you've done it wrong.
Yeah.
Like, not for kids, but at least watchable by kids. Not sticking one of these dour Zack Snyder movies in front of a kid when a character's supposed to be about hope and optimism, and it's just anger and brooding and sadness, and Steppenwolf looks silly as hell. Looks a little... I can't tell if he looks less silly than he did before, because before he looked really silly, but now he's like silly and pointy. I don't know.
Oh.
It's really pointy. It's like, remember
I wonder if the audience can tell that you and I both have absolutely zero interest of getting to our feature topic.
Yeah, I mean, it's there. It's sitting there. It's going to be fun.
It's there.
350th episode celebration! But I guess we should get to it. I mean, I'm sorry if you're a big Snyder Cut fan out there, anyone listening, and that I'm speaking sacrilege. I'm not trying to, like, mess with your day. I'm not trying to tell you the thing that you love sucks, because People tell me the things I love suck all the time, and it makes me crazy. Like, so many people tell me that the Star Wars sequels suck. Like, sure, they're not the highest form of art in the world, but I really enjoy them. And if you really enjoy this Snyder Cut, bless you. I do not take my words as a reason that you shouldn't like it. I just wish I could understand it the way you do, because so far all I'm seeing is pretentiousness and anger. And that makes me sad, because I love DC characters. I want to love it, because when it comes down to it, of the MCU stuff that I've gotten, I love the MCU. I like Batman, Superman, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman more than I like as characters Iron Man, Thor, maybe Captain America. I don't know.
You're fucking nuts.
I've turned on Captain America. Well, that's just it.
I will give you Batman and Superman. How dare you put Aquaman in there?
As a kid, I loved Aquaman. I loved Aquaman when I was a kid. And Jeff Johns' run on him when with the New 52 was like, this is great. I love that character. I love that take on it. I don't love, gritty, long-haired, hook for a hand Aquaman. I like, this dude's the king of the sea, but everyone on the land thinks he's a joke, but he's kind of not a joke, but he has to kind of take that in stride because he's also a king. Like, I just think he's a really interesting character when done right. I think he's great. And I would love to see that done in movie form. I would love to see it done with that kind of love and care. But I haven't even seen the Aquaman movie because
I watched the first 20 minutes of it and I shut it off.
Because that's not the Aquaman I'm interested in seeing.
It's just not a good movie. Like, at all. It was so bad. Like, not because I'm hating on DC or whatever, just from a movie making standpoint. Like, this is just not well done. The script is terrible. The direction is terrible. The lighting is fucking terrible. Like, this is just hard to watch.
Sad, because I love Aquaman. Like, I'll take Aquaman over 10 Namors any day of the week. I don't like Namor. He's a prick. Aquaman's not a prick. That's the thing. God, remember in Aquaman #1 when he goes to, like, fucking Red Lobster and, like, aren't you Aquaman? Don't you talk to fish? And he's like, you can't talk to fish. They can't carry on a conversation. It's I can communicate with them. It's not sitting down and having tea with them. Like, I loved that. That was such a cool take on that run was
great. And give me the Game of Thrones Aquaman, like, minus the fish boobs. But, like, give me, like, the political fucking intrigue and all that stuff. Like, I'm super
with
into
Orm
that.
And I mean, come on, Black Manta's awesome. Like,
Black Manta's great. But, like,
and give me the friggin'. We talked about Wonder Woman 1984, right?
Oh God, that was so bad. How much
I wish they would just adapt Azzarello's Wonder Woman from New 52. Again,
right?
Let's call back to New 52 and whatnot. All right. Let's take ourselves a quick break. When we come back, we're going to stop talking about comic books and we're going to celebrate our 350th episode, damn it. Because that's what we do here. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from Geekade.com. Stick around. And now, here's a quick look at some of the other original content available now from our partners and Geekade.com.
First up, you've probably heard us thank our intrepid editor, Evan, at the end of all of our episodes. But did you know he has a better half? Well, he does, and her name is Angela Fernot, and she's the one who actually presses record around here. She's also one hell of an artist, and she has the Twitch channel to prove it. She draws stuff, she plays stuff, she draws games. It's everything you could possibly want out of a Twitch channel, quite frankly. Tune in to twitch.tv/LaraCraft13 every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Sundays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget to give her a follow, a subscribe, a thumbs up, whatever the fuck it is you people do on Twitch. Because I'm old, I can't be bothered to figure it all out.
Me neither. Seriously,
donate
I watched
Bitcoins, Dogecoins. NFT artwork. I don't know.
Yeah.
All of it. Give her all those things.
Give her the things that make Twitch. There's like a whole sub game in Twitch. I'm playing like I'm watching the Banjo Guy Ollie streams in the morning, and there's like different emotes and stuff that every couple of seconds I'm like, you got 50 more things. I don't know what. Why? How did I do that? Next, on an all-new, all-different, all-astonishing Mutant Musings Evolution podcast, Patty and Jonathan kick off Season 2 of X-Men Evolution with episodes Growing Pains and Power Surge. Memory serves me right. Power Surge! If memory serves me right, and it usually doesn't, this show took a dramatic upturn in quality after Season 1 and only kept getting better from there, so it stands to reason that this podcast about that very show should follow a similar trajectory. To borrow from the episode's actual description, because Jonathan is more clever than I am, Jonathan has some serious opinions about the mutant metaphor, and Patty has some serious and surprising opinions about Jean Grey. Who does Jonathan want as his +1 to Patty's party? Has Patty discovered the identity of Rogue's new friends? Find out on Mutant Musings Episode 6, +1.
Ooh. Finally, Kris, those fine, sexy-ass gentlemen over at the Weekend Rental Podcast are just 5 episodes away from their 100th episode. And that, my friends, is quite a milestone.
As long as they remember it.
I mean, right? Ours were so long ago, I can barely remember it. And by barely, I mean not at all. I don't know what we did for our 100th episode. Even a little bit. I'm sure it was fucking great, though. Because everything I do is. Back to Weekend Rental, though. This week, they get into some Zelda trivia that you, the listener, can play along with if you so choose. Participation isn't mandatory, but it super is. Like, participate. Don't be that guy. Like, be a part of something. There's also an argument about Super Mario World versus Donkey Kong Country, which I can only assume is about which one would win if you dip the cartridges in TCRI ooze and watch the resulting mutants fight it out in an all-out cage match. I suppose it's possible they're just trying to determine which is the better platformer. Maybe. It's Donkey Kong Country. Find out for sure in Weekend Rental Episode 95, The Gamer's Blast Process.
For all this great content, Dan's bad opinions, and more from us and our partners, be sure to keep your eyes on Geekade.com. Okay, we're back, and I have had a terrible idea.
Yeah.
A terrible, awful, wonderful idea. Wonderful,
terrible night
idea.
for a curse, Kris.
I think this is going to be great. So we were trying to think of what to do for the 350th episode. And in true Stone Age Gamer fashion, I came up with this great idea that seemed great on paper. And then I figured out what they were, right? So it was like, what if we talk about, we'll rank, like you did with the Zelda games. That was a lot of fun. But we'll rank the 350th release for all these platforms that made it up to 350 releases. So I started going through things like, all right, Atari 2600, who the hell knows what the release dates were? So I couldn't really do that as well. And then everything else was not an exact science, okay? I just went US releases only, and only the platforms, US releases only, the platforms that had more than 350 US releases. So we've got NES, Game Boy, Genesis, Super NES, Game Boy Color, PlayStation, PlayStation 2, Game Boy Advance, GameCube, and Xbox.
I do think you're burying the lead a little bit, though.
Okay.
Because in true Stone Age Gamer fashion, when we were deciding what to do for the 350th episode, we came up with a repeating series for the next 2 years.
Yes, we did.
That's what we did first. We're like, oh, this is an idea that we could do for 2 years. Awesome. Let's think of some other bullshit.
We've got that covered. So the first week of every month for the next 2 years is covered, and I'm stoked about it. But then we had to think of something to do for 350 on episode 351, an episode late.
For the next 2 years. That done and dusted. The last week of every month for the next forever
is the 10, 20, 30, 40. We are in great shape to not have to think too much about
we
the
really
show
are.
before we do it.
All
right.
Goddamn standing.
So let's do this thing. Let's start ranking these bastards.
Oh boy.
So we're just going to go in chronological order here. I think chronological order. Whatever. I don't remember what came out first, the Game Boy or the Genesis. They were both 1989. Heck with it. We're starting with NES. Nearest I can tell, the 350th release in the United States for the NES was Dick Tracy.
I mean, that's got to be number one.
It's August 1990. I say currently, definitely. Out of all the games we've discussed so far this evening, Dick Tracy for NES.
Right up at the top.
Yes.
I mean, so the Genesis version is great. The NES version is not that.
No.
It is not the Genesis version. It's got like some weird driving segments in it that are not great. It's not terrible though. Like, it's not a terrible game. The box art's great.
Yeah, box art is really, really nice. It's got that very vintage comic book look with the Kirby dots in the background. Is that Kirby dots or is that just newsprint?
Kirby dots newsprint. Or who the fuck? Ray Lichtenstein, I think, was the other guy that did that a lot. Graphically, it does not look anywhere near as good as the Genesis version.
Most NES games don't.
Right, obviously, because they're not going to, but it still looks good. It, from what I remember of it, it plays pretty well. But it's not the Genesis version, so I never spent a lot of time with it.
I like how like I'm looking at a YouTube playthrough right now, and one of the crooks he's interrogating. Fake bills, I earned dat $20 unloading crates at the 9th and F pier. Like, the game's got the personality. It's not a masterclass by any stretch of the imagination, and I never really played it. I think I rented it once. I feel like I must have rented this once because I really liked the movie when I was a kid.
Sure,
and
great.
But I definitely never owned this one. I don't know. I feel like I remember the driving sequence, but I'm looking at the action sequences, and I don't ever remember actually playing this.
Yeah,
it doesn't look terrible though. Looks like
it's definitely number one right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
It very well might be number one for the rest of the night based on this list.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this about picking a random number of released games. It didn't really land on an awful lot of winners. The 350th release is worth somewhat surprising on some of these platforms.
Yeah, nobody else apparently gives a shit that it's their 350th game. They're just like, oh, whatever, put out a game.
Yeah, because that's just the way that works, right?
Yeah, that's the way it should work.
Okay, so next up, Game Boy Mickey's Ultimate Challenge.
I
that
know
was May 1994
about this game.
All right. I think this is, and I could be very wrong, but isn't this is this Crazy Castle? Developed by Designer Software, High Tech Expressions. That's already not looking too great. Right? Because the Crazy Castle series is like all these different mishmash of properties that just got slapped on this basic design, and that's not this. No, this is definitely not that. Okay. He's jumping on books, trying to spell the word magic, I think.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this goes below Dick Tracy.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. But that said, I'm not horribly unimpressed by this.
Sure.
Oh, wow. This is all right. So now we're playing Sokoban. All right. First, it was a side scroller, and a fairly well animated one considering it's vintage. But now I'm looking at it, and it's like a top view block pushing puzzle.
Okay.
And now we've got Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and Mickey is jumping on bottles of ink, it looks like, to do some stuff. And now he's helping Goofy in a factory. This is an interesting game. I don't know if it's any good without actually playing it, but like this is going all over. Like this is not just a bullshit platformer. There's like a whole bunch of different kinds of games in here. And visually speaking, it's looking at this from yeah, from a Game Boy perspective, like the sprite's not overly detailed, but it's not under detailed. It's very clearly Mickey. It does not suffer from the cardinal sin of Game Boy games of trying to make it the same scale as an NES game. It's built around what works for the screen. It's well drawn. This is a solidly built game. I couldn't tell you how well it plays because I've never played it myself, but it has my respect of being at least not just a complete pile of garbage.
All right.
So right now,
That's
it fits
something.
in the number 2 spot. Mickey's Ultimate Challenge for Game Boy. All right. This is going well so far. It's going good.
Yeah.
Feeling excited. All right, next up. Sega Genesis. In February of 1993, the 350th release in the United States for the Sega Genesis was NBA All-Star Challenge. A game that we clearly care a lot about.
I mean, so this game is actually pretty fun.
I've never played this one. Is this Tecmo?
Flying Edge?
Flying Edge. Okay.
Yeah. It's got the fucking heyday of like average NBA players on it. It's got fucking Hakeem Olajuwon and Chris Mullins. It's got Patrick Ewing on there, and Patrick Ewing is awesome. I think it's Clyde Drexler that's on there too.
Oh, this came out for Super Nintendo as well. Oh, this was developed by Beam, huh? Developed by Beam Software and published by LJN.
Well, I mean, right there it's.
Well, that's
So I'm looking at the back of the box right now. I definitely did play through this. There's 5 blistering ways to play according to the back of the box. 1-on-1 free throw contest, 3-point shootout, horse, and NBA All-Star tournament. And I remember playing the horse version with like a bunch of my friends, and I'm sure we were playing the Super Nintendo version. So I can't really comment on
the Genesis one was Flying Edge. Yeah, the LJN just published the Super Nintendo version. Let's see. Go on.
But like I remember having a lot of fun playing these like 1-on-1, and like it's not good like by any stretch of the imagination. It's not good. But I remember having fun like playing the horse game and the 3-point shootout and stuff. It had like this really weird, if I remember correctly, it had a really weird way to shoot free throws, like with a reticle instead of like a meter or something. Yeah, I'm gonna put this at number 2 behind Dick Tracy, just because I like Dick Tracy better.
Fair enough. Yeah,
but I enjoy a good 3-point shooting competition.
Yeah, I'm looking at the history of Beam Software, now known as Chrome Studios Melbourne.
Oh well,
it's got quite a history. Actually, it looks like they're gone. The last thing they did was Legend of Spyro: The Eternal Night in 2007. But yeah, they've done stuff going back to 93, Radical Rex, WCW Super Brawl Wrestling, the Solitaire Fun Pack.
Ooh, Solitaire Fun Pack. One of my favorite fun packs.
The Sega CD version of NBA Jam, the original Gex, Bug. All right, yeah, they've had a career. Okay, yeah, I'm with you. I'm who am I to argue, right? NBA All-Star Challenge for Genesis is the second best 350th release.
Oh man, this is good. I'm excited.
So what of the Super Nintendo, huh? What was the 350th release for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System? Theoretically, because like I said, not an exact science. It's a lot of like looking on Wikipedia and whatnot and trying
it up.
Not just be alphabetical, but strictly by release date, but all that stuff is not necessarily perfectly cataloged. So like I said, best guessed. 350th Super Nintendo game, Claymates, March 1994.
So, Claymates is not Playmates, and that made me very sad when I was a child. Because who didn't love Playboy when they were 13, 14, right? You? No? Nothing? Okay, that's fine. You're not a Playboy guy, Kris? Sorry. You were more of a hustler. I understand. It makes sense now. It's all coming together. I don't know what this is. I don't. It's not Clay Fighters.
It's not Clay Fighter, and I always thought it was related to it in some way, shape, or form. But it is from the creators of Clay Fighter. So I always wanted to rent this one, but nobody had it because I was a big fan of Clay Fighter, and I was like, oh, they made like an adventure game out of Clay Fighter, and Claymation's neat. So I'm sure this game's neat. Is it though?
It looks terrible.
It does look terrible. I'm going to look up a little video of it right now and see if I can get a better grip on it, but it didn't look great. I wanted it to look great.
It looks like there's maybe some interesting ideas in it. But it looks like a very average, generic platformer with some weird shit in the middle of it. Like you're a ball at one point and a fish at another point.
Unlike Clay Fighter, these don't look like claymation. These just look like sprites.
Yeah.
Nothing about this really looks clay to me.
Yeah,
like
I'm going to go ahead
to a mouse and
I'm going to go ahead and put this at the very bottom for false advertising.
Yeah, I'm going to put it at the bottom for just being crappy looking.
Yeah.
This does not look good.
There is a level called the Fungal Jungle, though, and I do like saying that.
Ooh, Fungal Jungle.
That's pretty
Is that enough to bring it above Mickey's Ultimate Challenge? I don't think that it is.
I don't think so. Just because of how impressive Mickey looked on the Game Boy.
Right.
That looked really good.
For a generic-ass Mickey Mouse game,
yeah,
it doesn't look like something I'm going to want to play and be like, yes, this is amazing, but it didn't look like they completely phoned it in. It looked like this game was created with some thought. This looked like we want to make a clay game
and not have it look like clay. I don't know. Maybe we'll make this somewhere on a Pete-a-thon or something like that. This looks like a Pete-a-thon kind of game.
Yeah, it certainly. Yeah, I don't know. Now there's a top view thing, and there's a blue ball, and there's robots walking around.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
This looks wacky. Nah, number 4.
Oh, they walked into a door and it transported them somewhere else. I'm getting some Bubsy vibes off of this.
It looks very Bubsy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely Bubsy adjacent.
All right, this could also be a big old pile of shit. Let's find out. For the Game Boy Color, because there was a lot of games released for Game Boy Color, which is hilarious that they just kept cranking them out. And the 350th game for Game Boy Color released in the United States was Disney Pixar Monsters Inc.
This has to be awful, right?
This can't be good, right? I can't think of a universe where this is actually good. Let's see.
Well, the long play of it is 46 minutes.
That sounds too long.
It does.
Let's see, what do we got here?
This looks worse than Mickey.
All right. THQ, and I don't see a developer yet. Who developed this one? Disney Interactive, okay. Mixed bag. Pixar Animation Studios.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow. These are some cutscenes, huh? Oh, no.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
This looks like poo.
Yeah.
No.
It's really hard. Sully is such a distinctive character. Like Sully's hair is so distinctive to that character that if you can't do that, you shouldn't do it.
I gotta say that the sprite doesn't look terrible for Sully as far as like it being on a Game Boy Color. And
no, I'm talking about the
size-wise-
cutscenes.
Oh yeah, cutscenes, boo. But the in-game sprite, not looking bad. The in-game sprite, I think, looks way better than what's going on in the cutscenes there.
Yeah.
It's not poorly animated. The size seems okay. These cutscenes are just grotesque. But it does look very generic platformer. Whereas the Mickey game went in some different directions here. This is like a run, jump. Looks like it's got that kind of like crappy jump where he's got like a little wind up before he jumps. So it doesn't look like it controls very tight. And it's just Sully. I don't see any Mike Wazowski yet outside of the cutscenes. Now he's got, there he is, Mike Wazowski. Mike. He's throwing cans. Look like cans of Red Bull, actually. That's kind of funny. But still, not looking like, he's in an ice cave. All right, so it follows the plot of the movie, more or less. Collect trinkets, fighting the spider guy at the end. You got to drop bombs on his head or something.
Oh, I'm looking at a sledding level that's giving me Battletoads vibes.
Yeah, give me more, a cliffhanger vibes.
Oh, I think this goes second to last.
Yeah, this looks better than Claymates, but
yeah, but not by much.
Yeah, it's not like nothing to write home about, but it definitely looks. I'm not offended by it. Here. Yeah. Nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live here.
Yeah.
Oh boy, this I don't know how I feel about this one. All right, so for the Sony PlayStation, Cyber Tiger was the 350th US release for PlayStation 1.
The original, the only, the Cyber Tiger. This game's actually pretty dope.
Is it? I never played it because I could not get past the absolutely hideous box art.
Oh, that part is garbage, but and again, it's been a very long time. But from what I remember, it's a pretty decent golf game.
Huh. Yeah, I'm looking at this is a PlayStation 1-ass golf game right here.
Yeah, it is.
It's got not a bad look though. Really, not all things considered.
They did a nice job of going for pseudo-realism as opposed to trying to make it look as real as possible.
Yeah, they went with this sort of goofy, exaggerated caricatures. And in that sense, like the Tiger Woods that's on here is just grotesque. Like he's a fucking monster. But
he's apparently a monster in real life too. So
yes,
Yeah, so where are we on our list right now? Let me see. Dick Tracy, NBA All-Star Challenge. I'm going to put this above Mickey's Ultimate Challenge, but below NBA All-Star Challenge.
Yeah, just for the sheer ugliness factor, I would put it below that. But watching the gameplay of it, it does look like a pretty fun golf game. Like, not Mario Golf levels of fun, but also not super, like, realistic simulator. This just looks like a pretty decent, fun golf game. So
yeah, and golf games are fun.
I'll put that in the 3 spot. Yeah, absolutely.
They are. I don't know why, but they are.
Yeah, I don't know why either. But you're not wrong. Yeah, this looks pretty snazzy. Yeah, I'm into this. I'm never going to play it, but I'm okay with it. I have finally made peace with Cyber Tiger after all these. God, that box. I just scrolled down and I saw the box art. It was, freaking grotesque. Ooh, boy. All right. This is a winner. PlayStation 2, far as I could tell, the 350th release for the PlayStation 2 is the all-time classic SingStar Amped. This is a karaoke game, right?
Yeah.
Was that what the SingStar games were? Amped PS2. Full song list. Can I get some gameplay of it?
The full song list is 5 minutes and 30 seconds long. See, Alice in Chains, Iggy Pop, The Killers, Nickelback. OAR?
This had the
OAR. No shit.
Oh, wow.
Pearl Jam, Poison, Queens of the Stone Age, Quiet Riot. Got the Ramones on there.
And it has the iToy connectivity, so you see yourself singing. Yeah.
People like the SingStar stuff, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. They must have. They kept making them.
Because they did pretty well.
It's the PS2, so... Yeah, I don't know. It's it looks like a perfectly competent karaoke game, right? You're singing into the microphone and it matches your pitch to where it's supposed to be in the game, and it's got all the words at the bottom.
I don't know. I feel like
it goes a karaoke game.
I feel like it goes below Mickey's Ultimate Challenge.
Yeah, just for the creativity of it, I'll agree with you.
Yeah,
I like that it's got the camera, but not enough to say it's cooler than the well-animated original Game Boy Mickey's Ultimate Challenge. So
yeah, I mean, it's a karaoke game. Like, we're not reinventing the wheel here.
No, yeah.
You and I could fucking cobble together a karaoke game.
I'm sure with enough time and typewriters, we could make it happen. It's like the monkeys and the typewriters, right?
That's right. Time, typewriters, and whiskey. And we'll fucking get that shit done.
Okay. Let's keep on going. This is actually an interesting one because I don't know much about this particular flavor, but for the Game Boy Advance, the 350th game might have been Crash Nitro Kart.
It might have been. Who knows? So
there's a better than even chance that Game Boy Advance was like, because Wikipedia doesn't have it's separated by the release dates are just listed like Japan was this and this, then the US was this, not like here are all the US dates, here are all the Japan dates. It's all in the same little chunk. So I couldn't separate the US ones, but I found another website that theoretically had all of them done. I don't know.
All right.
Theoretically, this was the 350th release for the Game Boy Advance. So how does this game fare on GBA?
It looks pretty good.
As somebody who doesn't have any actual interest or knowledge, okay, yeah, this does look all right.
It looks pretty good.
Visually speaking, it looks at the very least on par. It's a little blockier, I think, than Mario Kart on Game Boy Advance. Mario Kart Super Circuit's really good for GBA. I love it. It is
really good.
But this it does some nice things. Like I saw that the camera pans out a little bit when you go over a turbo. But it is very much running on that sort of 16-bit Mode 7 style of racing, as you would have to on the Game Boy Advance. It's, I don't know. I got nothing.
I'm looking at the Metacritic, Kris, just to give us an idea here. And the Metascore, based on only 6 critical reviews, is, and this is the Game Boy Advance version, not all the other ones. It got a 77. And the user score was an 8.4.
Well, yeah.
So I would argue that makes it good enough to put it above Cyber Tiger, but below NBA All-Star Challenge, because I've actually played that one.
And you know what? That works for me. Crash Nitro Kart for Game Boy Advance. Coming in third. Let's see. GBA. All right, looking good so far. We got 2 platforms left to cover.
All right.
Because so many other things like Saturn and Dreamcast, far as I can tell, didn't make it to 350 US releases. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that Dreamcast didn't.
I don't think it did.
Because
I think that's somewhere in the 270s.
Yeah, I looked up this stuff. I'd find the list. I'd paste it into my spreadsheet, and it wouldn't make it up to 350. I'm like, well, that's what it is. So that's the scientific process. All right, GameCube. Here we go. GameCube, 350th release, Madden 2005.
So, I mean, just what a vintage. What a year for Madden.
I could not tell you a single goddamn thing about this game.
I mean, I'm so, okay. All kidding aside, this is one of the best Maddens that ever came out. And the reason for that is because in Madden 2005, it introduced the hit stick, which would allow you, if you flicked up on the right analog stick, you would just waylay the fucking person that you were tackling. It was stupid. It was super fun. I really genuinely think this is a great game. Now, it's a Madden football game, but god damn it, the hit stick was really fun.
And it's not like Madden games were bad.
No,
right? They were popular because really they were well made.
Yeah. Like, I mean, pull up a YouTube video, just type in Madden 2005 hit stick, and you will see some pretty ludicrous shit happen on a football field. It's also where Madden started getting a little less realistic. Like, Madden was a really good sim, but this just kind of happened to take it like, okay, this is a little silly. but
kind of remembered that it was a video game for a little bit there.
Yeah, like not crazy, but it's pretty good. Like I don't want to put this above Dick Tracy just because it's Dick Tracy, so I'm not going to. But I think this is solidly number 2.
Okay. All right.
Felt good to play. It was fun. The hit stick was cool. 2005 had some really fun players in it. Like, you still had the fucking Buccaneers defense was ridiculous. Ricky Williams was running back for the Dolphins. You had fucking Ray Lewis on the cover. Like, Brian Urlacher was in the league at this point. Like, there were some fun dudes to play as. So, yeah.
And as a GameCube game, doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, hey. I mean, it is what it is. All right, what else we got?
It's actually an HD gameplay of Madden 2005 GameCube. This must be running through, what, the Dolphin emulator or something? Why is this
Maybe.
a thing? I'm so confused. Anyway, yeah, good for you guys. Well done. All right, last one. For the original Xbox, the 350th release in the United States, the all-time classic ESPN College Hoops Sports. See, it was a great idea on paper, but then you wind up with these games.
With Madden and ESPN. I can't even get a fucking Metacritic on that. Let's see. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and put that at the bottom.
ESPN College Hoops Xbox. All right, I found a gameplay video of it.
Was that 2K?
I don't see 2K listed on the box, but let's see.
Was it 2005? Was that the year?
I mean, it's Visual Concepts, so it must have been related to 2K in some way, shape, or form. But I don't see the branding anywhere on this.
Because I thought that was the thing. Like, Madden had football, so 2K went and got ESPN for everything.
I
think that's what it was.
Let's see.
I am sure that this game is great. If it's Vicarious, like if it's the 2K team, I am sure that it's great.
It's just called College Hoops, published by Sega, developed by Kush Games. Specifically, this Xbox version was listed on Moby Games as developed by Kush Games, because this was on PS2, so this was probably ported by Kush Games, but developed by Vicarious Visions, because they were still listed on the title screen and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm sure it's good at what it does. Let's see. Next Level Gaming, this was in 2003, so it got an 89 out of 100, 8.7 out of 10 from IGN, 8.4 out of 10 from GameSpot, 4 out of 5 from GamePro, B from Game Revolution, and G4 Tech TV gave it 3 stars.
All right. I mean, I'm going to put it at number 5 above Cyber Tiger.
Okay. Yeah, you're not going to get any arguments from me.
No, I didn't think I would.
Honestly, like, just because this looks like a very competent game and Cyber Tiger, as fun as it looks, it does feature that hideous box art. And
it does.
I can't abide that.
This is the most scientific ranking of the 350th releases per console that there has ever been.
On a podcast.
And it's a nice top 10.
Yep.
It works well.
Yeah, all right.
So at number 10, Chris, Claymates, because fuck that game. Number 9, Disney Pixar Monsters Inc. for the Game Boy Color, because if you're not going to have a furry Sully, then you just, no. Number 8, SingStar Amped, because it's karaoke for the PlayStation 2. Number 7, a strong contender up here until the end, Chris. Mickey's Ultimate Challenge on the Game Boy, just because it animates and looks pretty interesting for a Game Boy game. Number 6, Cyber Tiger for the PlayStation 1, or the PSX, because we're super edgy and extreme. Hideous box art, but it's a golf game, and it's pretty hard to fuck those up. Number 5, ESPN College Hoop Sports for the original Xbox, because if there is one thing Chris and I know a jack and shit about, it is college basketball. Number 4, Crash Nitro Kart on the Game Boy Advance, because it looks like a competent kart racer. Number 3, NBA All-Star Challenge, because it's one of the few on this list that either of us have actually played. Number 2, Madden NFL 2005 for the GameCube because of the hit stick. Number 1, because it's Dick Tracy for the internet.
Well said. And there it is. That's how you celebrate a 350th episode.
That's how you do it, folks.
I promise we'll do something better for 400.
So Chris and I were sitting here on episode 348 going, oh shit, we should probably come up with something. And this is what we came up. Well, no, the thing that we came up with. So can we say what that is?
I mean, I guess if you want to, sure.
Can we talk about it? So in 2 weeks, because next week, that's right, we preempted the 10, 20, 30, 40 for this, you fuckers. You're welcome. Next week, we're doing the 10, 20, 30, 40 for the month of March. Okay, I got a fucking beard hair in my mouth. Sorry. It's very unprofessional. But starting in April, for the next 24 months in a row, that's right, 2 solid years of content for you all to look forward to, Chris and I will be doing the Stone Age starter kits, wherein Chris and I are going to assume that you have been gifted a system and $100 to purchase games. And Chris and I are going to tell you what games to get with that $100 that you have. And we are starting with the Atari 2600. It's going to be awesome. I'm really, honestly, truly, I'm really looking forward to this. I think this is going to be a really cool thing we do. I
agree. I think it's a great idea. I had fun.
Yeah, that was the actual plan for episode 350. We were talking about, like, what if we did, $35? It's like, oh, fuck, video games have exploded. We can't buy anything for $35. What if we did $100? $350. That's too much. And it morphed from a 350th episode thing into a 2-year-long plan because we're hitting everybody. I mean, you want to know what to buy for the Saturn with $100? This is the podcast to listen to.
Eventually. It's going to take us a while to get there.
It's going to take us a little while. Seriously, we have 24 months of this shit lined up. I'm really excited.
Me too. But join us next time as we don't do that. And we bring you 10, 20, 30, 40. Which honestly is going to be pretty exciting too, because we're going to be covering stuff like the original arcade release of Street Fighter 2, The Bouncer for PS2, Video Pinball for Atari 2600, again, because I was wrong about its release date when we talked about it last year, and more. Should be a good ding-dang time. We're on most social media platforms, and if you want to get in touch with us, we aren't very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes, and you'll see links to our social media accounts, as well as all manner of other fun stuff, like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, the Geekade Patreon, which helps us keep this show running week after week, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by Banjo Guy Ollie. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making the show listenable for all you folks, and we'd like to thank all you folks for listening in the first place. That's it, everybody. On behalf of Dan and myself, keep playing games.